Hello, good morning to our Sama Dog community. Hope everyone is doing really great this morning or whenever you might be watching this. Here we are, Amanda Ree with you, the founder of Sama Dog, coming to you every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern, to bring our dog talk and our conversation about well-being for our animals, specifically our canine companions. And today we have an amazing guest, presenter, guest speaker to be interviewed and to share her wisdom with us. And I'm super excited. We are in the midst of our 6-week online program, and this week we dove into inner pharmacy, which is a conversation about balancing through the senses. And of course, one of our senses, the sense of touch, is an unbelievable healing channel that we have for not only human wellness, but also, of course, animal wellness as well. So we will just kind of get into it here. We'll first I'll introduce Susan, and then she'll explain a little bit about what her work has been and her background, and then she'll get into Marma. So that's M-A-R-M-A, Marma Therapy, and she'll obviously explain all the details, but it's a physical touch therapy that's working on different energy centers in the body. It's part of the wisdom tradition of yoga, meditation, Ayurveda, the foundation of what Sama Dog is all about and what her organization is all about. So as two people that are very passionate about animals and Ayurveda, we thought this is a great chance to bring something very unique and different to our community. So with that said, this is Susan Weis-Bohlen, and she is from Maryland. She's from just outside of Baltimore, and she's a Chopra Center Vedic, or a certified educator of the Chopra Center, and that's how we met all those years ago and have kind of walked along this journey together. And first, let me just pause. I don't want to keep going on and not just give Susan a chance to say hello. So hi, Susan, thank you.
I'm so excited. Really, I began with the Chopra Center in 2007. I love that we have both ended up in this path of when you create so much compassion for people and yourself, it like flows naturally to animals. And how we're both on the same trajectory at the same time, I think it's just a testament of the work of Ayurveda, Vedic meditation, and everything that we practice.
It sure is.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, thank you for connecting and for being willing and sharing your time, and more importantly, sharing the love and passion you have. I mean, it's beautiful what you've done. So let me explain a little bit about it, and then you can, of course, share some more. So in addition to a Chopra Center, a certified educator, she's also certified through the Ayurvedic Institute, which is another extremely well-known and fabulous organization. And she's an Ayurvedic consultant, and that's what she does full-time. She is also an Ayurvedic certified chef and a cooking teacher. So she was just telling me before we got on the line that she has her regular kitchen, her family kitchen, and then she has her, what do you call it, your demo kitchen?
It's our teaching kitchen.
Teaching kitchen, yeah, where she can and does a lot of classes out there. So if you're in that area, definitely want to connect with Susan. I certainly would be if I was living out there. I told her I'd be living in her guest room by now. She's also a meditation teacher, a workshop facilitator, and goes to India quite often and takes on people on tours out there. Yeah. Another thing that I think would be wonderful for many of us to participate in. And most importantly, because that's all fabulous, but the most recent exciting thing is this book that she wrote called Ayurveda Beginner's Guide. Straighten it out there for everybody to see it. This is a beautiful book. You can pick this up anywhere they sell books or on her website, and I'll put the link below afterwards. So Ayurveda Beginner's Guides, Essential Ayurvedic Principles and Practices to Balance and Heal Naturally. And this is beautiful. I mean, this book has so many wonderful, so much wonderful background, understanding, and then also like little breakouts. It's really easy to read. You can see a lot of recipes and all kinds of good stuff in there. So
thank you. I thought you were going to say the most exciting thing is I have 3 dogs, one from India. That's what I thought. I read my book. That was pretty good too.
That is the most exciting thing. And we definitely want to hear that story also.
Okay.
Dog from India. So that's a little bit of the background of Susan, just so you guys know who she is and why we're so excited to come here together. And yes, she has 3 dogs, Ella, Shadow, and Junie. And Junie's the one from India, right?
Yeah.
Susan found tied up on a tree outside of the ashram. So maybe that's a cool part to weave into the beginning of this conversation, and you can just take it on. Susan, I'll let you know if I have anything to add in or questions along the way.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, just the brief story of Junie. I was studying at the Ayurvedic Institute. They have an ashram in Pune, India, 2.5 years ago in November 2015. And just the first night we were there, we were driving up and I saw these little eyes peeking out from behind a tree. And I thought, my goodness, I think there's a dog there. And the next morning I went out and I found this little black lab with 4 deformed legs from probably malnutrition chained to this tree. And I was heartbroken, but I was there for 6 weeks. So I knew I had to do something quick because I couldn't study if I knew she was chained to this tree. And so I found the owners, and I found actually through Facebook, I found some organizations that do animal rescue. And we got Junie rescued, paid the owners some money. They just didn't even want her, but they had her chained to this tree. And then I got her into a foster home with a lovely couple in Pune, India, and they took care of her for 6 weeks. She went from about 22 pounds to about 30-some pounds with them. She's now 54 pounds. She could stand to lose maybe a pound or two, but she's good. And then through all this help in India, they have that help you get the proper dates for the vaccinations, and then a company that helped me fly her back to America. So now we have Junie, and she does have these deformities, but she gets water therapy, acupuncture, Marma Therapy, Reiki, amazing food, everything you know. And we've consulted with Dr. Sodhi, that you have worked with as well, on Junie. So she has Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, the whole gamut. And so all of our dogs get these sort of treatments. But with Junie, it's just, this girl is just obvious. She's a picture of health. She's amazing. So we know all this work.
It's beautiful, and thank you for saving her. And what's the saying that how does it go? It may not be saving one dog may not change the world, but it changes the world for that one dog. Something along those lines, and that's what
some people are people, and some people are dog people. So we don't have any children, so we're definitely we're the save the dog.
I hear you.
Yeah. And so one of the things I studied at the Ayurvedic Institute in New Mexico New Mexico as well as in India was Marma Therapy. And this is what I found so fascinating. I work on my clients, and I started thinking, well, maybe this would be beneficial for my dogs. And so what Marma is it's sort of like acupressure. You use your fingers on certain specific points on the body, on the human body. This isn't really mapped out on a dog, but on the human body, you hit specific points along the limbs and the torso and the scalp and the face and the ears. And there's all these points that correlate to different types of wellness. I love I'm going to just read what Dr. David Frawley writes about Marma. Marmas are part of a greater sacred physiology that maps out the body according to subtle energy currents and power points. The body has its own special sacred points, just as the earth has its sacred sites and energy currents according to sacred geography. We must learn this sacred geography of our own body in order to attune ourselves to the earth and to the greater cosmos. This is a beautiful book by Dr. Frawley, who I know, Vamadeva Shastra, who also works with the Chopra Center. This is an old book of his, one of the first books ever written about Ayurveda and Marma, and many, many beautiful things in there. So we see that just like Ayurveda, which gets us balanced with the Pancha Mahabhutas, the 5 great elements of space, air, fire, water, and earth, those are all the elements outside of us, and we have all those elements within us. And so we work to balance those elements through this touching of the hands and pressing on certain points of the body. Now, I found with my clients that this was not only very beneficial, it creates sort of a communication deep into the cells, the tissues of the body. And in Ayurveda, we say the dhatus, or the 7 layers of dhatus, are our tissues, the blood, the fat, the nerve endings, the plasma, all the way through to our reproductive system. it creates a level of communication between the cells and the tissues that otherwise doesn't exist. We go along all day long, and sort of even if you go to a regular massage therapist, she works on an arm, she works on the other part of the arm, then she works somewhere else, and everything is sort of disconnected. Where we know when you go for an Ayurvedic massage, it is the whole body, and every single stroke is practically the entire body because it's all connected. And so Marma Therapy helps to create an even stronger connection deeper into the body so that there is this talking between the cell. Like, what do you need? I might have what you need. And it can help, make this whole matrix, this web of healing in the body. So I found with my clients that they would, it can help with sleep, it can help with pain, it can help with emotional issues, so many things. But I felt sometimes when I hit certain points, I really felt the body shift, like a deep relaxation starting to take place. And they would sometimes they'd fall asleep. I felt like kind of like trance-like. And so one day I was working on, maybe it was Junie, I'm not sure, one of my dogs, maybe Ella, on doing some Reiki on her. And Ella does not like Reiki. The energy of the Reiki is a little bit too strong for Ella, and she would just get up and walk away, and I would stop, and move on. But then I thought maybe this subtle energy of Marma Therapy would be good for her. And so I started to press points down her spine, because I know all these points starting from the crown of the head all the way down follows the Sushumna, the line of the chakras. And I started pressing these points on her spine, and I felt under my fingers her entire body just like exhale. She has some anxiety issues. She's part border collie. She's constantly looking for a job to do. She's always on it. And suddenly it felt like, she didn't have a job. She could just be still. And so I did these points on her, and I was amazed. And then I stopped, and she turned around and looked at me, and she was like, "Why did you stop?" She sat up, and she sat with her back in front of me, and she was like, "More." So I started to really deeply practice Marma on Ella, and then I moved on to doing it on the other dogs, and I was like, this is amazing. Because what you do, and we'll find a dog, I hope soon, what you do is you press and hold. It's like pressing a point on your body. You press and you hold deeply. And you can, each finger actually has a different element according to the Mahabhutas. Like we have earth and a water and a fire, air and space elements in our fingers. So you learn what finger to use, and then you press deeply. And I usually repeat a mantra, and you hold that point for 30 seconds, sometimes a minute. And so for a dog to just stay still like that, I thought was really pretty amazing. And I found it to be very deeply healing. Ella has been dealing with Lyme's disease, and her antigen numbers were extraordinary. And we did put her on doxycycline for 30 days. We really do integrative medicine. We were very scared by the numbers, so we did Chinese herbs as well as doxycycline, and then flower essences to help with the sort of recovery from the antibiotics, as well as extra probiotics in her diet. But she had stopped like jumping on things, and she had a little bit of lameness in her back leg. She's 7. And so I found this sort of combination over 6 months of all these therapies, she is nearly 100% back to normal. Wow. And so I think it's everything together has created this atmosphere for her body to relax deeply enough in order for the healing to take place. I find that in my people clients too. If we're stressed out and if our bodies are stressed out, we just can't heal because we're constantly dealing with that stress. And so if we learn how to relax through meditation or abhyanga, applying the oils and so on, then the body can go take care of the other things that it needs that energy for. And so that's what I have found with the Marma Therapy for my dog.
I love the way you say that, Susan, because that's what I often, weird noise there. That's why I'm often talking to clients about too of why, why does it work? Why does this philosophy, why does Ayurveda or any really holistic science really work? It's not just the potency or the power of maybe one supplement or one therapy, but it's really the combination of therapies that essentially, like you just said, get the dog into, or the human, into that space of equanimity and calm, Sama, ultimately, the name of the organization, that kind of equanimity. And then the body can work unbelievable, powerful healing magic. And if we just give it the chance. So I love the way you shared that as well. And you see it come to life every day with your clients.
Yeah.
So explain to us a little more. You did give us some technical, like how do you do it, but a little more, like exactly where, and maybe if there's any of our viewers that have their dog nearby, they can bring the pup over.
I wish I could. I don't know where mine is. She's
okay.
I'll try and find her in a minute. But what I do is when the dog is already in a relaxed state, it's not really napping, but lying around, but kind of alert. I start to pet my dog, sort of go down the entire line from the top of the head all the way down the spine, which so you're connecting with all the chakra points of the dog. So it's kind of just like swiping through. And when I do that, I kind of feel, is there some place that is not aligned? Is there some place that is sore, perhaps? And then I'll start just by taking my thumbs, usually I keep my hands around the back of the dog, and taking my thumbs and just pressing in, not too deep, but pressing in enough so that you can sort of feel underneath the skin, you sort of feel the muscle and the tissues. And then I just hold. And I'm just still and I'm calm and I'm repeating a mantra. And then my dog they're all still while I do it. And then you lift up your hands. And what Dr. Ladd taught us to do is you sort of flick off the energy that you just picked up in case there was anything there that needs to be gotten rid of. And then I move down to the next point and the next point. I usually start at the base of the neck and I move down all the way down to the hocks of the back of her back paws. And then I hold there. That sort of lower hip area, I think, where we all have pain as we get older. I know my dogs have pain there too. And so you had that fleshy part on the outside of the hock, and you can just push your fingers in there. Or if a smaller dog, you might want to use index fingers or even your pinky fingers. You can use any finger that feels right to you. And you just hold it. If you feel so moved, you can actually do a little bit of a circular motion. But this is not a massage. This is really connecting deeply down into the tissues and just holding that so that it releases. And sometimes I might have a little tiny bit of oil in my hands, maybe a little bit of like Vata massage oil to help with more grounding and calming, or perhaps a little bit of lavender oil, which always helps. One of my dogs doesn't like scents, so I don't use it on her. You need to find out which of your dogs likes scents and so on. But I think the oils really help as well. And so it's funny because I found that my dogs really respond well to this, obviously. And so then I Googled it to see who else is doing this. And for the first time in my life, I found zero.
That's what happens when you start Googling some of this Ayurveda into the animal world. I noticed that.
Nobody doing dog, animal, Marma. And that makes no sense to me because it's so perfect. For the animals, because it really calms them down as well. But you need to be attuned with your animal. If you're all frenetic and all over the place and say, oh, this is time that I should be doing this and that, let me just sit down. No, first, get yourself centered. Like Amanda and I did before we began this, is Amanda guided us in a beautiful short meditation that helped to bring us present and feel connected for this talk. That's beautiful. That's exactly the kind of thing you want to do with your animal. Is you ask permission, you sit with them. Is this okay now? Are you ready for this? You don't have to say it out loud. You can just do it in your mind. And sometimes one of my dogs will get up and walk away. That happens with Reiki because the Reiki really is like Whoa, that is powerful. And I always ask permission before I do it. And once in a while, one of the dogs would just get up and move, a little bit down further on the sofa or the bed or on the floor, just not ready for it right now. So we need to be fully aware and attuned and consciously present with our animals when we do these sorts of therapies with them. And then we all benefit. We all benefit.
That's beautiful. It's so true, because you come together to be able to perform these, and there's no way for an animal to only receive the benefits. They won't receive the benefits if we're not aligned, like you said. So everything's coming through us and therefore having a strong impact on both of us.
Right.
I just want to pause real quick and reintroduce you briefly for those that have jumped on the line, and I just say hello to a few of you and invite anybody that's enjoying this conversation to please share it. This is how we get this good information out there. So next time when someone Googles Marma Therapy for dogs, they're going to find something, at least find this one conversation out there. And so it really helps us to obviously just share this beauty. I want to say hello to Cindy. I just put up her comment. She was really enjoying this, as it's such easy information to understand. And Paul is with us. Tamara just ordered your book online. She must have just did that real quick. Cute. Pao is with us. Victoria, Deborah, great to have all of you here. And thank you so much for tuning in and staying connected. I know a lot of our names and our friends here are from the Chopra Center, so maybe some of them even know you, Susan, and you guys have that. So Susan Weis-Bohlen is a author and a Ayurvedic practitioner and a consultant and a chef, Ayurvedic chef, vegetarian chef, and cooks classes, teaches cooking classes, and does tours and workshops, and is just an amazing teacher and a resource. She's out in the Baltimore, just outside of Baltimore area. And so if you're in that space or even nearby or visiting, I know I'm going to make a trip over there to be able to spend some time with her physically. But I hope that this is something also that we'll be able to have Susan back on, because she is such a wealth of knowledge and she can dive into a lot of different topics. So today we're talking about Marma Therapy for dogs, specifically, more so just what is the practice in general and how does it help, but definitely directing some of that towards dogs in this conversation. And she was just guiding us through some of the practices and how you would actually apply it to our dogs and what some of the benefits are. So if anyone has any questions, definitely pop them in below. We'd love to answer them or hear any of your experiences. Maybe you've had some. I don't know if you've had it with Marma and your pets, but maybe some other kind of touch therapy or massage. So let us know. And so, yes, Susan, you can just carry on. I didn't want to interrupt you, but carrying on a little bit and, sharing with us, what I've heard about Marma is that it's compared to sometimes like little chakra centers throughout the body. So explain a little bit more. I don't know if all of our audience knows, first of all, what chakras are and what energy centers are, and how does this help us physically and emotionally heal? I think that's such a beautiful part of the story in science.
Sure. The chakra it's an ancient field of study that comes from the Vedas, that's Vedas, which predates Hinduism and Buddhism. It was written down, 10,000 years ago, and it was a way of life. And Ayurveda is a health system, the medical system of the Vedas. For instance, Vastu Shastra is the feng shui of the Vedas. There's Vedic meditation. Jyotisha is the astrology of the Vedas. And there was this energy system that came through in Ayurveda and on its own, and also in the Yoga Sutras and so on, this system of energy systems and energy centers in our body. So they didn't have, x-rays available to them. I'm not sure x-rays are a good thing anyway, but in some cases, I guess so. But x-rays are not available. So what the ancient rishis, seers, teachers of the Vedas did was they used pendulums. We talked about it. They used body dowsing. They used different ways to access the 7 major energy centers in our body, which go from our crown chakra. They follow down the spine. It goes crown, the third eye, the throat chakra, the heart chakra, the solar plexus, the sacral chakra, and then the root chakra is our grounding chakra at the bottom, the base of our spine. And so those are 7 major energy centers, and they each are connected to a whole field of emotions and physical well-being. as well as emotional well-being. And I have to say that Deepak Chopra has one of the most beautiful chakra meditations. I think it's called The Secret. I forget right now. Do you know The Soul Secret or?
Is it a CD? Is that what you're talking about?
Where Adam Flack does the music.
Oh,
And
yes.
it's got soul in it.
Yeah, it could be the soul of healing.
Maybe it's the soul of healing. It's one of the most beautiful chakra meditations you can find out there. So I would definitely look for that online.
I'll find it and I'll post it below.
Yeah, people love it. And so he explains there in a way that's very easy to understand the physical connections to the body as well as the emotional connections. And when your chakra is balanced, how you feel, and when your chakra is out of balance, how you feel. So as I said, we have these 7 major centers. They have a color, they have a sound, they have aromatherapy scents that go with them, and tones. It's really very interesting, the whole chakra system. And I'll just say as an aside, I'm a little bit of a book geek. I used to have a bookstore for 10 years, and I carried a book called The Chakras. That was from 1909, I believe, by a man named C.W. Ledbetter. And I would definitely access that book. You still can. It's an incredible description of the chakras. And these were people that came over from the West and studied in India. They were called the spiritualists. And they actually channeled what each chakra looked like. And they made sort of these graphics of them, and they're in the book. And they're so beautiful. And we all have this in our bodies. So this is ancient, and people have been studying this and fascinated by this for centuries. So I really encourage people to look into the chakras. So besides the 7 major chakras that we have, we also have, we have ones that are outside of us, and we have ones that are in all of our limbs and below us and all over the place. And that's called our subtle body. We have subtle body energy that is all around us. Besides just our physical body, we have all this other stuff around us that some people can see, but most of us are so busy in our lives, we don't bother to take the time to learn how to see these things outside of us, or it's someone else's job to notice our auras and our colors and so on, and help us translate that. But what Marma Therapy does, and massage therapy does it to some extent too, is to access these subtle points. And so even as the therapist starts to come into the body, they're already working on you before they even get to you. So that's why we talk about meditation and centering and pranayama, breath work, all these things before we begin, asking permission of the animal or the person before we begin our work, because all that information is out in the field, and we need to access that in order to go into the body. And so that is the beauty of the chakra system, is that it works out here and it works in here, and we can learn what's balanced and what's not balanced. So, for instance, we have our power center. The power center is the middle of your torso, and this is, I call it the P center. It's the people, possessions, power. It's like, all this sort of like ego stuff that we have in there. And when it's out of whack, we might tend to have really bad digestive problems because we're constantly stressed out, nervous, anxious. We got to get more. We have to do more, and just always on ourselves. Perfectionist, that's another P. It's all in there. And so that could be out of balance. So then we learn to do some soothing techniques, perhaps some castor oil on your belly, or eating easy to digest food, or accessing the marma points. There's a marma point around your belly button. We call it the ginger marma because it helps with digestion. I'm just going to move my camera down a little bit. So around your belly button here, if you just go around in a circle, and even on your dog, you can do this if they have digestive problems. I know they don't have a belly button, but you can find the center there. And you just go around with 2 or 3 fingers very gently around that marma. You can create better digestion. You can create a release of anxiety and stress, and you can balance that chakra. So there are these specific marmas. Marmas are also called nadi. You might hear the word N-A-D-I, nadi. When someone says marma, they might say nadi as well. So can't believe I'm rubbing my belly on Facebook Live, but there you go.
I love it. It's
important to learn.
That is marma and
Nadi.
Nadi, thank you. The nadis and the marma, is it the same thing?
From what I have learned, that those terms can be used interchangeably.
I
But there
see.
is Indian Marma and there's Tibetan Marma, and they're pretty different.
Hmm.
And so there might be a distinction there that I'm not aware of, but
Hmm.
somebody else might know that, be able to tell us.
Really interesting. And I'm very grateful that you're willing to show your belly on Facebook Live. Sometimes, like I was telling you before we started, I said, "Oh, this whole thing, live is very interesting. Sometimes you don't know what's going to happen, and you just roll with it." So, showing your belly is a perfect fit into the comfort we have here. Well, very good. I just wanted to say hello to Beth and Robert, a few more of you joining. Again, we're just kind of closing up our time here, but just wanted to reintroduce Susan Weis-Bohlen. She is an Ayurvedic practitioner and consultant and a chef, and teaches cooking classes and tours people through India, and applies her expertise in Ayurveda to animals as well, like we do over here at Sama Dog. And so obviously we've had such a connection. We could probably talk for 100 hours on all the wonderful things that we'd like to share, and we certainly will be bringing more information back to all of you, because I think it's good to have kind of these bite-sized pieces, especially if this is brand new knowledge that you've never experienced before. So today we talk about Marma. It's all about Marma. For anybody that's just jumping on, just want to know.
Sure.
No, go ahead.
Oh, what I will do in the future is I will have my husband videotape me doing Marma on one of my dogs, and we'll put it up on your page.
Oh,
so we can get a nice, calm, settled experience so that people can see what that looks like.
That would be great. Yes, and then I'll let everybody know. Yeah, get maybe like do a one cycle or one process or sweep or whatever you would call it. One technique. Yeah. Great. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So Nadia's here, loves the info. Tracy's here, and Jenny. Oh, hi everyone. I wonder if Stella's watching. Jenny is the mama. She's the mama of this cute little puppy that stayed with us recently while her mom was going through recovering from surgery. And this little puppy is like woven her way into all of our hearts. So I'm so glad that we all get to stay in touch online at least. So yes, if there's anybody that has any other questions, let us know. We're very grateful for anyone sharing this out in the world as well. And we'll just give you a chance, Susan, to share anything else that you'd like to say, and any wrap-up thoughts when it comes to our power, because I know you know this so well, our power and potential for us to heal ourselves and to heal our dogs, or to, if they're not even struggling with a physical ailment or an emotional ailment, just to bring vitality. Talk a little bit about how much influence we have over that.
That's exactly what I was going to talk about there for a minute. Is that I think our dogs are really a mirror of ourselves, because I know the second my husband and I never fight, but once in a while, if we have an argument, the dogs react immediately. And so they totally feel. So my border collie mix, Ella, will sort of put her tail underneath her legs and run away. My little Junie from India will jump up on us like she wants to make us dance and be happy. And my boxer lab mix, Shadow, she'll just look at us with big eyes like, why are you yelling at each other? And so that really helps us come back into ourselves and say, wait a minute, these feelings, even just a little inflection of a word that isn't loving, the animals feel that, and it's reflected in their bodies, and that's reflected in our bodies. So if I see them reacting immediately and I don't even know I'm in that stage, I'm like, oh, I have a lesson to learn here. Ella wants to move away from me now because she feels I'm getting stressed out. And so that's a lesson for me to start doing my things to help me relieve anxiety and stress. And I never want my animals to feel that, because we know they feel everything so deeply. I mean, Ella can feel the thunderstorm 10 miles away and head to her little, den in the basement. I think our animals help us become very aware. So while we're working on our animals energetically, we want to make sure that we are energetically aligned with them. I know you have the flower essences, and we use a lot of flower essences with our dog, and that is a wonderful way to become energetically aligned with your dog. Now, I'm not like an out there woo-woo believe everything person. I am a very grounded person. And I know this works. And flower essences are very interesting because they come from the earth. I mean, how grounded can you be? And so these are type of tools and things that we have at our hands to help us balance ourselves, balance our animals, and just to create just a healthier environment, which is what we all want to live in. So I thank my dog so much for helping me to mirror myself so I can see where am I out of balance, where do I need to work on myself. Maybe I do Reiki on myself, or Marma, or meditation, or maybe a glass of wine. You know, you never know what it is that a person might need. A little red wine now and then is not a bad idea.
Also comes
but so we just, what's that?
It also comes from the earth.
It does come from the earth.
It can only be good.
Organic.
Yep.
There's good organic red wine from California. And so by working with the animals energetically and with all the tools and techniques that you have been teaching people about, Amanda, I think we start to put all these things into our toolbox, and then we can not only help our animals, we help ourselves, and we help our clients, we help our families, we help our communities, help the earth. It doesn't end. It just exponentially keeps moving out. And that's why we're here. So we start with what's closest to us, taking care of ourselves and our animals. And then we move on to, we have a saying in Hebrew, tikkun olam, which means to heal the world. And I live by tikkun olam. I try to move beyond myself and to heal the world. And that this is all an integral part of it. Using our hands, our fingers, our energy, and then moving on to help people learn how to do it. And trying to save the world, one dog at a time.
Susan, you're so beautiful and special, and the way that the information flows through you is totally admirable. You know, it's one thing to know it and study it and have tons and tons and tons of experience in it, as you do, but it's another thing to articulate it as well as you do. And I'm very grateful. It's an honor having you here. And I want to show your book one more time. I put up the name there a moment ago, but this is her new book. You can buy it anywhere where you can buy books, or I will put the post below, the link below to her site, and you can buy it directly from her, Ayurveda Beginner's Guide. I can't quite read it backwards. Essential Ayurvedic Principles and Practices to Balance and Heal Naturally. Great book. And, you know, I bought a few of them as well because they're great gifts for people. And not only is it information and so much that can help them and the beings around them, but it also is a very pretty presentation. So I think it's a lovely gift for people as well. So thank you all for being on. We had quite a few viewers jumping in and out throughout this conversation. So I can't tell, but I think some of them have shared it as well. And we're very grateful to all of you for staying connected, for caring about this, for putting your time and your heart into this, and for loving the animals the way that you do. And if you have any questions, or anyone watching this as the recording goes, post them below, and then Susan and I will both keep our eye on this and let you know. We have a 6-week class, as I mentioned at the top of the conversation. Sama Dog runs a 6-week training, not a training, but more of an online course, and we go into all of the different body, mind, and spirit practices that we can use towards our dogs from the Ayurvedic perspective, kind of with that slant throughout all of it. And we're doing it again in October, so if anybody's interested, you can find out a little more on our website. All right. Well, thank you so much, Susan. It's been wonderful being with you. Thank you very much, and have a beautiful weekend.
Amanda, thank you, and thank you everybody for watching. This was great.
Yeah, lots of fun. All right, enjoy. Bye for now.
Namaste. Bye-bye.